You say no, and nothing changes. Not immediately. They still ask again. They still lean on you like your time is soft wood, and you feel the old reflex, the one that keeps your image clean and your body tired. Dry mouth, a small heat behind the ears, thumb hovering over the chat, ready to add one more line that will make you sound reasonable. You don't need a better boundary. You need a boundary that costs something. Because the moment you explain your no, you turn it into a debate. Because the moment you soften your no, you turn it into a test. Because the moment you keep access after disrespect, you teach people the price is zero. A weird thing happens right before you fold. Your breathing shortens. Your shoulders lift. Your face tries to smile. Not warmth, permission. And they read it. They read, keep pushing. They read, he'll cave. They read, she'll feel guilty. They read the crack, and they widen it. The specific human problem, you set boundaries as words, then you keep granting access. The psychological pain, you live in quiet resentment, fatigue, and the shame of being used. The hidden mistake you believe is a virtue. You confuse explaining with being good. The irreversible consequence, if you don't recognize it, you become a public hallway, and your life never closes. We turn philosophy into self-mastery. So you stop announcing lines you won't hold, and you become a person whose limits are real. 1. Boundaries fail at the sentence after your no. You think the boundary is the no. No. The boundary is what happens next. The boundary is the cost you attach to continued pressure. Because pressure is not an accident. Pressure is a strategy, a test of how cheap your access is. You set the line, then you add a reason. You add a smile. You add a future yes, and you call it maturity. You call it keeping peace. You call it not being dramatic. But the pattern is obvious. You announce a limit, then you negotiate it for free.
It triggers when they arrive late. They ask last minute. They frame it like it's small. They act entitled to your time. The mechanism is simple. Your identity hates conflict, so you buy relief with explanations. The cost is brutal. People learn that persistence beats principle, and you learn to dislike yourself for folding. So the correction is simple. You remove the negotiable parts, and you raise the price for pushing. Watch your own tell. After you type no, you stare at the screen, waiting for approval. Typing bubbles appear. Your stomach tightens. You don't want to enforce. You want to be forgiven for enforcing. 2. The contrarian truth. Boundaries don't fail because you're too nice. Most people blame weakness. They blame low confidence. They blame not being tough enough. That's not the main failure. The main failure is that you keep paying people to ignore you. You pay them with extra attention. You pay them with long explanations. You pay them with second chances that cost you and reward them. You call it kindness. No, it's a refund. You issue refunds to people who disrespect the policy, and they learn to demand refunds. This is why assertive communication doesn't save you. Words don't enforce anything. Incentives enforce. Machiavelli is useful here as a diagnostic tool. People follow what works. If pushing you gets them access, they will push. If pushing you ends access, they will stop. Not because they became moral, because the math changed. 3. The good person trap, when morality becomes a weapon. Jung is useful here as a tool, not decoration. The shadow of the good person is the hunger to be seen as good. So you protect your image by sacrificing your time. You protect your image by explaining until the other person feels comfortable. You protect your image by making sure they can't accuse you of being selfish. And that is exactly how they control you. They don't break your boundary with force.
They break it with a character trial. If you don't help, you're cold. If you don't reply, you're rude. If you don't agree, you've changed. So you rush to prove you're still safe. You type a paragraph. You send a voice note. You offer an alternative you didn't want. You soften your no until it becomes not now. You think you're being fair. No, you're being editable. And once you're editable, you're owned. 4. The terms card, the artifact that turns emotion into policy. You need one artifact that survives guilt, one object that doesn't care about their tone, one object that doesn't care about your mood. The artifact is the terms card. It's a small note you keep on your phone lock screen, in your wallet, on your desk. 3 lines: what you do, what you don't do, what happens when someone pushes after your no. This is the spine of the whole video. If you mention it and forget it, you lose the point. So you don't. You build everything on it. The terms card is not a boundary. It is the boundary's operating system. Because when the request hits, your body lies. Your fingers want to rescue. Your mouth wants to smooth. The terms card forces you to obey yourself. Here's a clean version. My time is scheduled, not seized. No same-day emergencies that are not mine. If you push after my no, the conversation ends. You think it sounds harsh. No, it sounds clear. And clarity is kinder than resentment. Notice this. Notice the softeners you attach to your limits. You say, I'm sorry. You say, I wish I could. You say, not right now. You add a laughing emoji, then pretend it's nothing. You add, don't be mad, like your boundary is a crime. Those words are not politeness. They are discounts. They signal that your no is temporary, negotiable, and emotionally expensive for you. So the person learns the same lesson every time. Wait it out. Push once more. Let you feel guilty. And the door opens. The terms card exists to remove those discounts. So your boundary stops sounding like a plea. And yes, this will feel unnatural. Your tongue will search for extra words, like a hand searching for a railing. That's the old training. You believe harmony is your job. It isn't. Your job is to make your limits predictable, so people stop gambling on you. Predictable limits create calm, even when they complain. 5. The framework, the terms card enforcement ladder. Purpose, to turn boundaries from words into predictable outcomes. Use it when guilt tactics, urgency theater, and entitlement show up. Fail condition. You use silence as punishment, or you use the card to humiliate someone. This is not about cruelty. It's about closing loopholes. Step 1. Write your terms card before you're pressured. If you write it during pressure, you will bargain. Step 2. Answer with one sentence that matches the card. No paragraph, no story, no apology. Step 3. Hold the silence window. 4 seconds. Long enough for discomfort to surface, short enough to stay clean. Step 4. Repeat your sentence unchanged if they push. You think repeating is childish. No, repeating is how you stop negotiation. Step 5. Enforce the end on the second push. You don't threaten. You don't debate. You end the interaction.
Step 6. Record the pattern in one line. Who pushed, how they pushed, what you enforced. Because memory edits pain into forgiveness. Epictetus belongs here as a diagnostic tool. Your control is not their feelings. Your control is your action. You don't control whether they like the gate. You control whether the gate is stone. 6. The first backlash is not proof, it's a receipt. The moment you enforce, people react, not because you harmed them, because you changed the deal. They act confused, like they never heard you. They act wounded, like your limit is betrayal. They act urgent, like the world ends if you don't bend right now. And your body flares.
Heart a little faster, face getting hot. A laugh trying to escape your throat to dissolve the tension. Notice the warmth reflex. When pressure hits, you perform comfort to cancel consequences. You don't enforce, you soothe. You don't close the door, you hold it open and smile. So the terms card has one job in this moment: keep you from buying peace. If they ask why, you don't explain. You point back to the policy, not out loud, inside. My time is scheduled, not seized. Then you stop. If you fill the gap, you fail. Not morally, mechanically. Because they learn, discomfort makes you talk. They will create discomfort on purpose. One unfinished pause lives right here. Because you already know what happens when you keep rescuing people from your no. They stop respecting it. 7. The 3 boundary myths that keep you weak. Myth 1. If I say it clearly, they'll respect it. No. They respect what costs them. Myth 2. If I stay calm, it will work. Calm helps, but calm without consequence is a lullaby. Myth 3. If they love me, they won't push. Love doesn't erase incentives. Entitlement can exist inside love. So you stop using love as an excuse to leak, and you stop using being calm as a substitute for enforcing. The terms card is how you stay calm and still make it cost. 8. 3 tactical scripts, short enough to survive heat. Use these exactly. When someone demands an exception, that doesn't work for me, and I'm not negotiating it. When they push after your answer, I've answered, and I'm ending this conversation now. When they make it moral, you're free to judge it. I'm still not changing it. You'll want to add softness. You'll want to add context. Don't. Extra words are handles. 9. Do this, not that. Do this. Answer in one sentence, then stop. Not that. Explain until your no becomes a maybe. Do this. Enforce on the second push. Not that. Keep debating until you collapse. Do this. Use the terms card as policy. Not that. Rely on mood and hope. 10. 5 questions, yes or no. Answer yes or no, no speeches. Do you add reasons after you say no? Do you say not now when you mean no? Do you apologize for having limits? Do you keep replying after they pressure you? Do you compensate later because you feel guilty? 3 yes answers means you don't have a boundary problem. You have an enforcement leak. 1. Case study. Friday, 6:47 p.m. The quick thing that eats your weekend. Open office lights are still on, but the floor is half empty. Your bag is already on your shoulder. Your mind is already out of the building. Then the message hits,
Friday, 6:47 p.m. Quick thing, can you polish the deck for Monday? Should take an hour. Your chest tightens, not because you can't do it, because you can already see the movie. 1 hour becomes 3. 3 becomes a Sunday, just one more change. And on Monday, the meeting starts, and your name isn't mentioned. You feel your thumb hover, ready to type the old sentence. Sure, no problem. Then the second sentence. I was about to head out, but I can make it work. That second sentence is your boundary dying in real time. You're announcing that your life is adjustable. So you pull up the terms card. My time is scheduled, not seized. No same-day emergencies that are not mine. If you push after my no, the conversation ends. You answer with one sentence that fits the card. I'm not available tonight. I can look at it Tuesday morning. Silence. The reply comes fast. But it's urgent. There it is. Urgency theater. Your body flares, heat in the face, jaw tightening. You want to explain your weekend. You want to prove you're not lazy. You want to be liked by the person who just tried to buy your time with guilt. You repeat, unchanged. I'm not available tonight. Tuesday morning is my window. Second push arrives, sharper. Come on, it's for leadership. Now it's a character trial. If you don't comply, you're not a team player. You don't argue. You enforce. I've answered. I'm closing this thread. Then you stop replying. You leave the office. The elevator doors close and your shoulders drop. Not euphoria. Relief. Because you didn't sell your weekend for approval. And on Monday, something shifts. They didn't die. The deck still got done. Someone else handled it, and they learned a new truth about you. Access is scheduled, not seized. 2. Why your boundary collapses. You keep trading consequence for explanation. People ask for reasons because reasons are leverage. The moment you give a reason, you give them a target. You say, I'm tired. They pressure you on tired. You say, money is tight. They pressure you on money. You say, family is coming over. They pressure you on family. You think you're being respectful. No, you're handing them a screwdriver. So the correction is simple and brutal. Your no is not a story. Your no is a policy. If they ask why, you answer with a boundary, not a reason. I'm not getting into that. Then silence. The silence is not passive. It's the cost of continuing the conversation. Most people can tolerate your no. What they can't tolerate is you refusing to negotiate your no. And that's why they push. They're not trying to understand. They're trying to move you. 3. The 3 push styles and why one policy beats all 3. People don't pressure you the same way. That's why your old boundaries kept failing. You were trying to negotiate each personality. You were trying to solve their mood. You were trying to win a clean emotional ending. So you kept talking. First style, the panicked pusher. They sound frantic. They breathe fast. They type in bursts. They say, please, it's urgent. I need you right now. Second style, the entitled pusher. They sound casual. They assume. They speak like your time is already theirs. They say, quick thing, can you? Should take an hour. Third style, the tester. They are calm. They are polite.
They ask once, then ask again, then again. They don't get angry. They wait for your leak. Your mistake is thinking each one needs a different boundary. No. Each one needs the same policy because the same mechanism is underneath. They are testing whether discomfort makes you move. So you respond with the terms card, not with your emotions.
For panic, you don't mirror their urgency. You slow down. You answer with the scheduled window. For entitlement, you don't correct their tone. You correct the access. You answer with the policy. For the tester, you don't escalate. You repeat unchanged, then enforce on the second push. The terms card is why you stop arguing with personality and start enforcing with structure. And the moment you do that, something strange happens. They stop performing. Because performance only works on a negotiator. 4. Rewrite the card for your real life. 3 categories that matter. The terms card is not one size fits all. If you make it vague, it becomes decorative. So you write it for the 3 categories that keep draining you. Category 1. Time grabs. Requests that arrive late, sudden, last minute. Category 2. Emotional labor. People who dump their chaos on you, then disappear. Category 3. Money and favors. People who treat your resources like community property. You pick one category and you write 3 lines that close the loopholes. If time grabs are your leak, my availability is booked. I don't do same-day asks. If it's truly urgent, find the owner, not me. If you push after my no, I end the conversation. If emotional labor is your leak, I don't process crises over text. I can talk tomorrow at 6, not tonight. If you keep escalating, I step away. If money and favors are your leak, I don't lend or send on short notice. I decide financial help monthly, not in emergencies. If you pressure me, the answer becomes no. Feel the difference. No explanation, no morality, just structure.
Your lungs will want to fill the silence with kindness. Let them ache. That ache is your old addiction dying. Now the case study makes sense because you're not improvising. You're obeying the card. And when you obey it once, you stop begging yourself for courage because the rule is already written. There. 5. Notice the guilt refund. Notice what you do after you enforce. You feel a sting of guilt, so you send a follow-up kindness. You send an extra smile. You volunteer something else. You compensate. That is you issuing a refund. You enforced the boundary, then you paid them for suffering it. So they learn pressure hurts you, and you will soothe them if they keep pushing. Stop refunding. If you enforce, hold the line clean. No extra favors for 24 hours. No just checking in. No emotional cleanup. Let them sit with the new reality. 6. 2 philosopher tools used correctly. Lao Tzu as diagnosis. The softest thing can shape the hardest because it doesn't fight. You don't need to fight people. You need to stop moving when they push. Nietzsche as diagnosis. Resentment grows when your actions betray your values. Every time you say yes to save your image, you feed a quiet hatred, not for them, for yourself. So boundaries are not about them. They are about your self-respect staying intact when pressure arrives. You think boundaries are interpersonal. No. They're internal alignment under stress. 7. Do this, not that, when the room tests you. Do this, answer with the terms card sentence. Not that, improvise and start bargaining. Do this, repeat the sentence unchanged. Not that, upgrade your explanation when they resist. Do this, enforce with time and distance. Not that, enforce with anger and insults. Anger makes it personal. Distance makes it policy. 8. The Rapid Audit Checklist, 7 leaks that ruin your gate. Read these like a mirror. 1.
You say not now when you mean no. 2. You apologize for having limits. 3.
You give reasons that can be attacked. 4. You offer alternatives too fast to erase discomfort. 5. You keep replying after they push, proving persistence works. 6. You restart the same conversation when they pretend to forget. 7. You keep access after disrespect, so nothing costs them. If you fix only one, fix number 7. Access after disrespect is the master leak. 9. The 5-day protocol, the terms card week. Run this like training, measured, no drama. Day 1, write the terms card, 3 lines only, and read it once in the morning. Measure, did you read it before your first message of the day? Day 2, deliver one boundary in one sentence, then stop. Measure how many extra words you wanted to add. Day 3, practice the silence window. After your boundary, hold 4 seconds before any reply. Measure, did you break silence early to soothe? Day 4, enforce on the second push. End the call, end the thread, leave the room. Measure, did you enforce within 60 seconds of the second push? Day 5, record the pattern in one line. Who pushed, how they pushed, what you enforced. Measure, did you write it within 10 minutes? Trade-off truth. Some people will cool off. Some relationships will thin. They were not built on love. They were built on your availability. Let them thin. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming expensive. 10. 5 questions, yes or no, the final self-test. Answer yes or no. Do you feel guilty after enforcing? Do you send follow-up kindness to smooth the discomfort? Do you avoid ending conversations even when they disrespect you? Do you keep explaining until the other person feels okay? Do you treat their disappointment like an emergency? 3 yes answers means you're still negotiating your own life. 11. Final reflection. Why boundaries fail is simple. Boundaries fail when you want approval more than peace. Boundaries fail when you treat discomfort like danger. Boundaries fail when you say no, then keep the door cracked. A gate that opens under pressure is not a gate. It's theater. And you don't need better lines. You need a price you're willing to charge. Soft teaser. If you want the next weapon, the one that stops people from turning your kindness into a tool, go to stop training people to use you. Because once your gate becomes real, people don't stop. They change tactics. They stop asking nicely. They start testing your access ledger. Measurable 3-day experiment. For the next 3 days, pick one relationship or one recurring request pattern. Write one terms card line you will obey. Use one one-sentence boundary. Hold 4 seconds of silence. Enforce on the second push. Record the pattern in one line. Then comment like a field report. The exact sentence you used, the tactic they tried, what you enforced, what changed. You now know why your boundaries fail. You tried to defend a stone wall with soft words. You offered reasons when you should have offered silence. Here's the 3-day experiment, the access ledger reset. Write your terms card tonight. 3 lines only. Obey it for 72 hours. No deviations. The sentence. 1 sentence for the boundary. No story. The gap.
4 seconds of silence after you deliver it. The enforcement. End the interaction on the second push. Then record the data. Comment your field report below using this structure. The sentence, the exact words you used. The tactic, how they pushed, guilt, urgency, or charm. The outcome, what changed when you refused to issue a refund. Now go straight to the next weapon. The art of being out of reach. Why selective inaccessibility is your greatest leverage. Because once your no becomes real, the next war isn't boundaries, it's access. Leave your report and move to the next video.